It's an anabolic steroid. The IOC Medical Commission...
It's confirmed Ben Johnson has taken steroids. He's stripped of his gold medal, he's out of the games, out of career, home in shame.
The Olympics is the most recognized sporting event in the world next to soccer and basketball, consisting of both summer and winter sports competitions wrangling up thousands of athletes from more than 200 nations around the world. The Olympics is the ultimate global competition of friendship and goodwill. However, some of that becomes ill will, and the thirst to win drives Olympians to bend and break the rules. In this video, we'll take a look at 10 Olympic athletes who got cheating flat out. Now is the time to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell.
Dora Ratjen, Deutschland.
Number 10, Berlin, 1936, Dora Ratjen. Dora Ratjen, a German athlete who competed in the women's high jump competition in the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin, reached 4th place, later went on to win the gold medal at the European Athletics Championships in 1938. But for fellow competitor and former record holder British athlete Dorothy Tyler Odom, something seemed very much out of the ordinary. She voiced her suspicions of Ratjen, saying that she's not a woman, she's a man. And after controversy involving Ratjen's apparent cross-dressing while riding a train from Vienna to Cologne, Ratjen was investigated, and that investigation revealed that Ratjen was indeed a man. Ratjen was rightfully stripped of his medals, his world record, and the expunging of his name from the record books altogether. Later, he renamed himself Heinrich and confessed in a 1966 Time magazine article that he had been forced by the Nazi regime to pose as a woman for the sake and honor and glory of Germany.
Ausgeschieden.
Number 9, St. Louis, 1904, Fred Lors. You might as well call it a beguiled manner of fate, more so than direct cheating, because this early example shows the absence of strict monitoring and regulation that the Olympic Committee follow today. Fred Lors was an American long-distance runner looking for world glory in the 1904 Olympic Games. The questionable matter came after he had been running for 9 miles because he suddenly stopped. His claim was exhaustion, but instead of giving up and going home, he hitched a ride with his coach for 11 miles. And an actually hilarious turn of events to the cheat, his coach's car broke down, and so Fred continued on foot back to the Olympic Stadium, where he ripped into the finish line 15 minutes ahead of his nearest rival. And momentarily, he reaped the rewards as he was greeted as the winner of the race. Before his gimmick was fully discovered, he had his photo taken with President Roosevelt's daughter Alice, and was even preparing for the medal ceremony. And during the media fiasco, Fred Lors actually joked about cheating during the race. Well, truth eventually came out, and Lors was banned for life by the Amateur Athletic Union. That amounted for little because he was later reinstated after he apologized for his trickery. Perhaps he did have remorse for the corruption, because a year later, Fred Lors redeemed his name through his speed by winning the Boston Marathon in 1905.
At which he won 14 gold medals.
Number 8, Mexico City, 1968, Hans-Gunnar Liljenwald. We've heard of the best athletes who are taking some illegal substance to enhance their performance. Well, this is one of the first, as Olympian Hans-Gunnar Liljenwald failed a drug test. He was a Swedish pentathlete. To be specific, he was a modern pentathlon, which is an Olympic sport that comprises of 5 different events: fencing, freestyle swimming, equestrian show jumping, pistol shooting, and cross-country running. Liljenwald was already popular, as he had done well in the international sporting scene. He was admired as he had already competed in 3 Olympics, specifically in 1964, 1968, and 1972. He was an influential contributor to the Swedish team. But in 1968, after the Swedish team had already taken the bronze medal, they had to surrender their win because of Liljenwald. Well, the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, had just implemented athlete testing for illegal substances, and Liljenwald was the first to be penalized due to excessive alcohol found in his system, simply because he had 2 beers. Now, it seems really strange today, but at that time, alcohol was one of the substances banned on the list. In interviews, he stated that he drank the beer to steady his nerves in preparation for the pistol shooting event.
Did you see this, Bernice? Oh, my.
Number 7, Seoul, 1988, Ben Johnson. There were many issues surrounding the 100-meter dash at the 1988 Seoul Games, which many sports analysts dub as the dirtiest race in the history of the Olympics. It all started with the Canadian sprinter Ben Johnson, who was athletic enough to win 2 bronze medals in the prior 1984 Summer Olympics. He was thought to have won with 9.79 seconds, but he was disqualified after the Olympic Doping Control Center found that Johnson's urine sample contained the anabolic steroid, or stanozolol. In the aftermath, his record and medal were retracted, and shortly afterwards, 6 of the 8 other finalists of the same 100-meter race also tested positive for using performance-enhancing drugs. This was the first and last time so many athletes were implicated in a drug scandal.
The experience of that moment, the sort of the emotions that it evoked, are still there. And so even though it was completely tainted, as a spectacle, it still is emblazoned on my mind.
Number 6, Montreal 1976, Boris Onyshchenko. In case you haven't heard about one of the most exceptional swordsmen in Olympic history, Boris Onyshchenko was a former Soviet modern pentathlete who competed in 1968, 1972, and 1976 Summer Olympics. As he competed in the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, he was already a 3-time world champion, so he was surely commendable and a world-renowned formidable competitor, and he came into the fencing event with confidence. During his bout with the British team, many noticed that Boris's weapon had signaled a point as it hit nothing but air. Quick investigations ensued, and it was found that Onyshchenko's dueling sword, known as the Epi, had been illegally modified and included a switch which allowed him to register a touch at his command. Unfortunately, he pressed the switch at the wrong time. He was, of course, booted from the competition, forcing the Soviet Union to cancel their campaign. And this is the story of how Boris would later be known as Boris the Cheat.
What happened was it was found that these 2 wires here that are insulated and have to be all the way up to the plug, they were being tampered with, and apparently he had something on his finger where he could close the 2 weapons.
Number 5, Seoul 1988, Park Si-hoon. In this strange case, the adjudicators are the culprit and not the actual athlete. At the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea, light middleweight contender Park Si-hoon was a sure favorite for the home crowd. After a controversial path to the title bout, Park found himself against USA star boxer Roy Jones Jr. Early in his career, of course. Now, during the fight, Park found himself in trouble, getting nearly knocked out twice, and was given notice by the referee for not defending himself properly. Despite the clear inferior performance, Park would win with a 3-2 decision by the judges in his favor. This sparked outrage, and later it was revealed that 3 of the 5 judges who had scored in Park's favor had been receiving favors by Korean officials prior to the event. Park had no cause for suspicion and ended up keeping the gold medal and record. Yet 2 of the 3 judges who voted for him were banned from the sport of boxing for life, as this was a clear case of cheaters prospering.
Who has been outstanding during the competition, going against Park Si-hoon of Korea from Masan, Korea, located in the south of the country.
Number 4, Montreal 1976, East Germany. It was in 1976 at the Montreal Summer Olympics when East Germany triumphed with an impressive 40 gold medals and an incredible display of athleticism, and the world was astonished. The women's team easily took 11 of 13 swim events, and news reporters said they were machines on the water. They soon became the public face of the German Democratic Republic. This was exactly the propaganda they needed to be the awe of the world. And amazingly, they maintained this reputation with their outstanding performance in the Olympics throughout the 70s and 80s. The catch? They actually were using performance-enhancing drugs. And in 1991, members of the East German swimming team admitted to a state-sponsored steroid course. Their athletes were indoctrinated to think that success in sports would equate to the overall world success of their country. In another case where cheating actually did pay off. Although they confessed to the abrupt cheating, East Germany was never stripped of their Olympic accomplishments.
Every member of that relay team did one of the best jobs of these Olympics.
Number 3, 2018 Russian team. The International Olympic Committee was forced to take initiative in the 90s to create a world anti-doping agency. There were too many cases of athletes using performance enhancers to achieve legendary status and glory, and this agency actually placed a controversial 4-year ban on Russian athletes, which banned them from participating in all major sporting events in 2019. Now, it may seem harsh, but many people are not aware that systematic doping in Russian sports has resulted in 47 Olympic cases of doping and tens of world championship medals being stripped from Russian athletes for that very same reason. And as a matter of fact, Russia has the most athletes that have been caught doping at the Olympic Games, which earns them an award for that misconduct alone, as more than 200 individual cases have come to light.
It was an unprecedented attack on the integrity of the Olympic Games.
Number 2, Sydney 2000, Dong Fengzhou. This is the strange case of Dong Fengzhou, a Chinese gymnast who is actually too young to compete. During the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, she was only 14. However, her passport documented her at 16 years old, which was the standard age for the event. Her strong performance was vital and a major contributor to the Chinese women's team, as they acquired the bronze medal. When the truth finally came out, Dong's career high scores were nullified, and eventually the International Olympic Committee stripped the 2000 Chinese Olympic gymnastics team of its bronze medal, leaving a big hit to the team and the nation.
8 elite athletes who were deliberately and flagrantly losing their matches. Why? ABC's Bill Weir leads our coverage again tonight from the London Olympic Games on the scandal and the celebration.
Number 1, London 2012, women's badminton. What is the line between playing the game to win by physical ability and beating the game through technicality? This is that case. In 2012 at the London Olympics, 2 pairs from South Korea, one from China and one from Indonesia, were deliberately losing to advance by playing weaker teams. Their devious plot was noticed and they were penalized for not using one's best efforts to win. They were condemned by the noisy, disappointed crowd and disqualified. Which of these cases do you find the most shameful or laughable? Leave your opinions in the comment section below and be sure to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.